Weather gets warmer, more motorcyclists are hitting the roads. Alyssa Thurlow talked to some experts on what drivers and riders can be doing to help reduce the number of crashes on main roads.
Experts say far too many motorcyclists are being killed or injured in motor vehicle crashes across the country. They say drivers and riders need to be aware of their driving habits and pay attention to each other when out on the roads.
If you're on a motorcycle, they can be less conspicuous. So before you change lanes, before you turn at an intersection or pull out from an intersection or stop sign, or when it comes to yielding on the interstate, you really need to be conscious of motorcycles.
Data from the Maine Department of Transportation shows there have been 41 motorcycle crashes statewide this year so far. Experts say motorcyclists are overrepresented in traffic crashes. Contributing factors to these crashes include speed and alcohol impairment, distracted driving, and rider inexperience.
Of the 26 fatalities in 2024, 14 of them had no hands-on training.
Terry Atwood is the owner of Bangor Area Motorcycle School. He, along with 2 other instructors, have nearly 150 years of riding experience among them. Classes at BAM run 11 hours over 2 days, with an additional 5 hours of classroom training completed online prior to attendance.
And they'll learn proper riding techniques. For example, we teach how to properly take a corner. The technique is called slipper, slow look, press and roll. And number one place for single bike fatalities is cornering, because people have never been taught the correct way to take them.
Riders warn even the most experienced can crash, leading to serious injury or death. They encourage all motorcyclists to wear helmets and protective gear.
I was in an accident about 2 years ago, and I don't even remember that day. Because had I not had my helmet on that day, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Just wear all the gear all the time. Helmets, gloves, protective jackets, good pants, sturdy boots.
And drivers, don't tailgate. Be sure to give riders enough space on the roads.
So what I always tell people is if you think you're at the right distance, give yourself a little bit more, maybe an extra couple car lengths to allow yourself to react to something.
Alyssa Thurlow, WABI News, Bangor.